Hello to all of my fans and subscribers who've been with me since day one. I love and appreciate your support, and you're all my best friends. I couldn't live without you. I'm gonna call you my skid marks. But seriously, I just hit 1,000 subscribers, so now I can put ads in front of the videos, and hopefully over the course of a year I can make like 6 cents. Woo! Today we're talking about tires and how to spend less money on them, make them last longer, all that good stuff. First, you gotta ask yourself a question. Are you a grassroots drifter, or are you trying to be a competitive drifter? If you're trying to be a competitive drifter, you should make your car really fast and really soft in the back and ruin all of its drivability, and then maybe you can win a shiny little plastic trophy that you can show off to all 200 of your Instagram followers. Bonus points if your car makes over 500 horsepower and you never learned how to tandem in a low-powered car. For those of you who are just grassroots drifters trying to have a really good time and you're not worried about being the next person to drop out of Pro 2 because it's too expensive, this video is totally for you. All jokes aside, competitive drifting is cool, and if that's what you're into, go for it, because it's all about, having fun, and that doesn't sound like any fun to me, but, you do you guys. Alright, so grassroots guys, the best way to save money on tires is just to start with a good tire. There's a cool Facebook group that some really cool guys started called Drift Tire Reviews. I'll put a link to it down below. It's on Facebook, and that's where a bunch of people go to just kind of talk about cheap tires and how good they are. Generally, Kenda KR20s are awesome, and I have found that Century UHP tires are great if you can find a tire size that fits your car. These are usually tires that are a little higher in tread wear, so they don't offer crazy amounts of grip, but they last super duper long, and they're kind of cheapish. I know there are some brands like Zestino and Zabrino and Sabrina the Teenage Tire. Those are all good for drifting, but they're kind of expensive, and unless you're like part of their pyramid scheme, it's kind of hard to get some. But yeah, find a good tire for you, use Drift Tire Reviews to find a good tire, and that's like a really good starting point. If you go out and buy really expensive like R16, R15, KT, whatever the Falcons are, if you go out and buy really expensive grippy tires like all the cool FD guys, those things don't last long because they're super low tread wear and they fall apart really quick, and you'll get half the amount of laps if you're lucky, but you'll make a ton of smoke and grip. Officer Dan also has a cool YouTube channel where he kind of goes through and reviews drift tires in a controlled environment. Like he goes on the same track and just kind of does head-to-head comparisons on cheap tires and tells you which ones are great. So I'll put a link to his channel thing down below. Shout out Officer Dan, you rock, keep doing you. So the big killer of tires for us is not the friction and like scraping of the tire against the pavement, it's the heat that causes. So if you get a tire too hot, it'll start to melt and little chunks of it can fall off, or if you get it way too hot, it can do what's called delaminate, because tires are actually made from like a steel woven mesh with a bunch of rubber kind of glued in there all together. It's all melted in. So if you have a bad tire that's prone to delaminating or chunking, then when you get it hot, it will, lose all of the tread or chunks of it, and then it won't last very long. So again, going back to the part one, get a good tire that doesn't chunk or delaminate if you can, and then keep your tires cool. And the best way to do that, of course, is just to drift in the rain. Your tires will last forever, but none of us are weather gods, so we can't really control that. If your track will let you do it, have like a wet box, like a little pool for your tires. After every run, you can just ride through that puddle of water, and it'll cool your tires off, and they'll last way longer. Some tracks, that's not really an option. So what a lot of people do is bring like a tire sprayer thing, like one of those garden weed killer sprayers. That works really well because you got to get out of your car and spray your tires, and that gives them a lot of extra time to cool down in between laps, and your tires will last a super long time. Or if you're like me and you're really lazy, you can put in a tire sprayer system thing, and I have a video, and there will be a link somewhere in this video, maybe in the end card, on how to make your own. And that's really awesome because you don't have to get out of the car. You can keep hot lapping, and basically like when you shut down the drift, you just turn the water sprayer on, and bam, your tires cool down and last you way longer. So you got some good tires, you're keeping them cool. Next, you really want to make sure alignment is spot on. If you have too much camber, your car could look really cool. I don't think it looks super cool, but that's on you. If you have too much camber, you'll get what's called camber wear, where the inside, or if you're doing it really wrong, the outside of your tire will wear faster, and you won't use all of the tire, so you won't get as much grip out of the tire as you possibly can, and the tire won't last as long because you're only running on a small section instead of the whole thing. So you really want to make sure your camber's dialed. Toe in and toe out, especially in the rear, can really affect grip. So like if you have some toe in, it can add a little bit of grip in drift, which is like a cheap, quick, twitchy way to make the car faster. It makes the car handle weird. We can get into alignments later in another video if you guys want, but for now, if you set your toe to around 0 degrees, your tires will last a good bit longer. Oh, suspension's also a really big part of an alignment. If your rear end is really, really soft, then you're gonna be putting more of a taxing load on the tires. Sway bars are a really big part of that. So if you run soft sway bars or no sway bars at all, you get a lot of side bite on the tire. So the body can roll and kind of like put a lot of pressure on that one tire, and that gives you a bunch of grip and you go faster. But if you're putting too much side bite on a tire, you can start wearing out the sidewalls and causing uneven wear, and also just more pressure, more grip on a tire makes it wear out faster. So good sway bars kind of reducing your body roll will also keep at least your outside tire from wearing too fast, and keep your tires lasting longer, which is what we want to do. The point of this video and stuff. Alright, this one probably should have been first, but you really need to nail all of those things before you can figure out what tire pressure you should be running. A lot of this comes down to how you want the car to handle. I kind of tune all of my cars through tire pressure just because it's easy and I'm really lazy, but generally lower tire pressure means more grip, higher tire pressure means less grip. If you run a high tire pressure, you build heat in the tire quicker, and as you know, heat kills tires. If you run too low of a tire pressure, your tire can flex a lot. I don't know how to show that with my hands, but it flexes and stuff, and then you wear out the sidewalls, and you kind of just too much flexing of the tire can also cause a lot of heat, and it can cause the thing to wear out. So you really got to find a happy medium. Usually it's in the 20 to 30 psi range, but that's different for every tire and every car. Also, with high tire pressures, the tire, when you inflate it, it turns into a bubble, so the center of the tire will wear out a little quicker, and at lower tire pressures, the tire especially with a wide tire, the center of the tire will cave in a little bit, so you'll wear on the outsides, but the center tread will still be good. So you do have to play with tire pressures to get it just right, but keep in mind, usually lower tire pressure, you run less heat, which is kind of the big killer of tires. So, do your own science, friends. Okay, so next we have tire stretching, which is a hot topic because some people think it looks cool and some people think it's dumb. What do you think? That's a plug to get comments on the video. Sometimes it works. I did a little experiment at the last drift event. I am no tire doctor, scientist, engineer, but I think it's largely dependent on the tire you have and how stiff your sidewalls are, what that does to your tire wear. But what I found was I ran the exact same tire on the exact same wheel, but one of the wheels was an 18 by 8 and the other was an 18 by 8.5. So it's only a ½ inch of tire stretch. But I found that with the tires that I run, the stretched version wore the sidewalls a bit more than the non-stretched version. So the 18 by 8 got a little bit better grip, got a lot more sidewall bite, but also didn't wear the sidewalls as much. And I did something similar on the RX-7 where I ran a 235 versus a 245, but I think the section width caused more of a difference. Though I did notice, the 235s on that, the sidewalls got eaten up quicker. So my hypothesis, or my science result, was that if you stretch your tires, they don't last as long. They also don't provide as much grip when you stretch your tires. So keep that in mind if you want grip. So generally, more tire stretch will reduce your grip, reduce your tire life, wear your sidewalls a little bit more, but look more hot boy if you're into that. So the last thing to talk about is driving technique and driving style. A lot of that is just really wheel speed versus ground speed. So wheel speed is how fast your wheels are spinning, and ground speed is how fast your car is moving. So if your wheel speed is wicked high, you're doing like huge, smoky, big angle stuff, that means your tires are going to wear a lot faster because they're creating a ton more friction. If your wheel speed is a lot lower, a lot closer to what your ground speed is, then your tires will last longer. They won't build as much heat, there's not as much friction. And I found that usually driving in tandem, your wheel speed to ground speed ratio is a bit lower, right? Yeah. So anyway, your tires aren't spinning as fast. You're kind of trying to grip the car up to keep up with the car in front of you, and your tires last a lot longer. So on days when you do a lot of good chase driving and not huge smoky lead runs, your tires will last longer. So the best way to make your tires last a really long time is to just park your car and get a driving simulator and drive it home, because virtual tires are free. Yep, that's it. That's all the basics. Thank you guys for watching. If you found this interesting or helpful, make sure you share it with some drifty friends. And let's keep this silly little sport of ours sustainable and have fun with it. Thanks for watching, friends. My skid marks is what I'm calling you. Bye. Here's 20 seconds of videos that, oh, this is a video you should watch. It's a thing that I think you should watch. And then this is a different video that you should probably watch. And if you click here, you can subscribe to the channel and be a skid mark. Thanks.